Shalom, you guys. Welcome to Let's Get Deep Bible Study. Tonight, we are going to backtrack and we're going to go over Genesis 1 and 2. Because next week we'll be going into Exodus 15, which talks about the first example of Yahuwah teaching Israel Shabbat, working 6 days and resting on the seventh, and how it's really just rooted in trusting Him. And when you come out of bondage, when you come out of lies or our deceptive system, it's really sometimes it's hard for us to understand Shabbat. Sometimes it's hard to understand why Shabbat was established. And so we're going to go back to the beginning to see the establishment of Shabbat, of the Sabbath day. So we're going to get starting in Genesis 1. Okie dokie. All right. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the spirit of Elohim hovered over the waters. And so I'm going to stop. Hello? Oh, shalom. We're just getting started in Genesis 1. So we just read the first. Uh-oh, what's going on with this whiteboard?
What does that mean?
No, I think someone.
Oh, stop. No.
That was me. I think that was me by accident. I'm trying to pull up the notes and I don't know if I did it or not, but I think I pulled up a whiteboard instead.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
happened.
so sorry. Sorry about that.
Let me see. Hopefully we can cancel it somehow. Okay, there we go. All right. So so in those first was that 3 verses. So this part, when we're reading it, verses 1 and 2, where it talks about the earth was formless and was without void. And so in the beginning, that word formless or empty resembles like chaos, dysfunction, unstable, confusion. Like it's a void that is resemblant of vanity. And so when we ourselves are in darkness, it's literally like when as we continue to read Genesis, I want us to not just think of it as the creation of heaven and earth. It's literally how Yah speaks to the darkness that's in us, and then he hovers first. And it says the spirit of Elohim hovered over the waters. And so that first word, hovers, it in Hebrew, it means to move with tender love or to flutter or to brood over as a bird over her young. And so this movement can also resemble the movement of a mother over her children, like a cherishing, shielding, and also like it's I'm about to prepare you for something. So when the spirit of Elohim hovered over the face of the deep, he hovered first and then he said, let there be light. And so we're seeing this process of how Yah is going to hover over our circumstance before he ever tells us a command. But he said, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. Elohim saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there were evening, and there was morning, the first day. So before, hello? Did someone say something? Oh, it's Tanisha.
My bad. That was my daughter.
And so when we're reading this part, we're seeing that Yahuwah is never going, he's not never, he's always going to speak to us in that, and when he speaks, there's a call of separation. So I want us to continue to see this pattern where Yah sees our circumstance, he hovers over it, then he says a command. And in that command, you are called to make a separation. And then after you make the separation, you get a name. He called the light day. And so we always see that he sees you, he hovers, he speaks, there's a separation, and then you get a name. Then you get an identity. And after that identity, we're going to move forward. We're going to see an increase of territory or an increase of the divine plan that Yah has for this light, for this earth. And Elohim said, let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water. So Elohim made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it. And it was so. Elohim called the vault sky, and there was evening and there was morning the second day. So are we seeing this pattern of you separate, then you get a name. You separate, then you get an identity. And Elohim said, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let the dry ground appear. And it was so. And Elohim called the dry ground land, and he gathered the waters and called seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. Then Elohim said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it according to their various kinds. And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seeds according to their kind, and trees bearing fruit with seeds in it according to their kind. And Elohim saw that it was good, and there was evening, and there was morning the third day. And so this is a whole nother part that I haven't spoken to. And even in these notes, but that as Yah continues to separate us and give us a name and give us a purpose and expand our territory, we begin to produce fruit. But your fruit should produce the same type of fruit that was produced in you. And so, like kind after like kind. You're not going to plant an apple tree and then you get oranges. Something happened. What's going on? Yah is about his pattern. He is about consistency. He's about separating us for our identity in him, but not just to have an identity. But after you get your identity, then there is after the identity, there is a increase in where he's calling you to do and how you're called to function. And we're just seeing that here in darkness and light and day and moon and stars. I mean, we haven't even got to the moon and stars yet, because that's going to be in these next couple verses. But I want us to really read Genesis with this understanding that we're not just reading about Yah creating the earth. We are literally seeing his divine pattern for us. We are in chaos and darkness. We were in vanity. We were in emptiness. We were in things that did not profit. And when we received the light of his word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. When he spoke, his commands are the light. His commands say, separate from this. This is of me. This is not of me. This is holy. This is not holy. It's a separation to make you set apart, to make you distinct, so that you can be in your right identity as children of the day, children of the light, and operate in that function. And so we're just seeing function being designed here in Genesis. Any thoughts, comments, commentary before I keep going at verse 14?
Can you share the notes one more time? Because I don't want to press the wrong thing and mess up your thing.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can just send a link.
All right, thank you, love.
Zoom document.
I'm down here looking. I'm scared to press some.
Don't be scared. I understand now. I was like, what's this whiteboard doing? It's happened a few times, so.
Okay.
Okay. We make a shareable link. And then we'll move forward. Share. All right, I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Thank you.
Anybody should be able to access the notes. And these notes are not going to be like verse by verse, because those are separate notes, but these are kind of like a combined working of everything from the beginning. But yes. Okay, verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years, and let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so. Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. Elohim set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good, and there was evening and morning the fourth day. And Elohim said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky. So Elohim created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing with which the waters teemed and moved about in it, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Elohim blessed and said, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase in the earth. And there was evening and morning the fifth day. Okay. So this is where we start to see even more, like it's just going to continue about being separation and function, separation and dysfunction, separating from dysfunction. So everything in creation obviously was void. There was dysfunction. There wasn't any kind of order. It literally was chaos. It was just emptiness. It was dysfunctional. So we know that the word evil in Hebrew literally just means to be out of function of what Yah is called. Yah is calling all these things good. So yes, everything in creation is good. It's when we start to use them outside of the function that Yah had called us to, that's when it becomes dysfunctional or evil. The lights in the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars are good. The animals in the sea are good. Later we're gonna get into, but is it good for you to eat? But it's good in its function. So we're gonna keep getting into the separation and the distinction that Yah has always done and how he's called us to move as well. I want to say his light makes a separation where light is spoken, darkness is pushed back. There is no negotiation. In creation, we see that everything is obedient to Yahuwah, right? Humans have not entered the picture yet. And so everything is obedient. There's no negotiation about, well, no, I really want to be like this. And I really want to, like, I know that you made me to be the moon, but like, I want to be bright like the sun. I want to function like this. There's no conversation back and forth with when Yah's creating. The command is the command, and everything in the world is submitted to it except for humans. We're the ones that cause dysfunction one because we're not surrendered. And so darkness doesn't blend with light, it flees from it. The word of Yahuwah demands a separation from all that is chaotic, profane, and out of order. And then I put Psalms 119, verse 105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And so I'm going to keep saying, like, see the pattern. And really, it just comes down to the light comes or the word comes, then separation happens, function is assigned, and then your obedience brings identity and expansion. That is the picture of how Yah moves. That is the picture of his spirit. Yeah. So names are always going to be given after separation. We can also see this with Abram to Abraham. Abraham did not get a new name until he separated from his family, his father's house. In the expansion of his identity in his territory did not come until he really separated from Lot. And so we're gonna keep seeing these patterns over and over and over again in scripture to see that Yah doesn't change. He's the same. He's always operated like this with his people. So function was not assigned until after distinction. The same is true for us. We cannot operate in righteousness if we refuse to separate from lawlessness or dysfunction or evil. The call of Yahuwah always follows the cutting away of confusion. And to be evil in Hebrew, we know is ra, which is it's not just to be morally corrupt. It's literally to be dysfunctional. It operates in contradiction to divine order. So we're seeing Yah establish his divine order. He's literally establishing his divine order in Genesis. So anything that goes against or contradicts the establishment of Yah's order is evil, is dysfunctional. Therefore, righteousness is not just about how good you are according to like the morals of the world. It's about proper function according to his word. And I put another Psalms 19. The law of Yahuwah is perfect, converting the soul. The commandment of Yahuwah is pure, enlightening the eyes. And so I'm going to go back to this part where it says, he governed the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. And the thing that stuck out to me when I was reading this was about Yahushua. When he was walking, he was saying that like, ye are children of the day. Like, you know, there's 12 hours in a day. Like, you got to get this work done during the daytime. And then I think, was it Peter? No, Paul repeats it in First Thessalonians, like, for you are all children of light and children of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. And so I just thought that was beautiful when reading Genesis. Those are some of the first couple of scriptures that I remember reading. In John 11:9, it also says, if anyone walks during the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of the world. If anyone walks during the night, he does stumble because the light is not in him. And so we're still seeing these distinctions literally all the way back from Genesis. And those scriptures are here in the notes too. So you don't have to like scramble to look for them. And I also, my favorite one in Isaiah, to the law and the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And so we keep seeing this thing about the light, the word, the word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. His word, like his commands, his let there be. It is so, it is written. These are the utterances out of the Father's mouth that have to cause for a separation from the thing that you were attached to. What verse am I at? 24. Oh, I'm sorry. I have my back. And Elohim said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kind, the livestock and creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. Elohim made the wild animals according to their kind, and the livestock according to their kind, and all the creatures that moved on the ground according to their kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. And so that they may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, over the livestock, over all the wild animals, over all the creatures that move along the ground. So why is Yah creating humankind? Why is he creating us? To rule, to have dominion over his creation, to have dominion over what he has already established in his divine order, to keep in order to rule over everything that he has made. There is a that's that elevation in that elevation and expansion of dominion and authority. This is the perfect design that Yah had for us. This is before sin, guys. We're not talking about sin and how to get back from that. I want us to look at this from the thing of like, this is what you were designed for. This is how we were designed. This is the perfect picture that Yah had for his children, to be his image bearer. Not just to say, oh, I'm in the image of God, but what is your image supposed to do? What is your function? How are you supposed to be moving? Why were you created in his image? It says it right here. So that they may rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, everything that moves on the ground. He's like, I created all of this. I'm the ruler over all of this. And I am now extending my rulership to you because you're made in my image. So Elohim created mankind in his own image. The image of Elohim, he created them. Male and female, he created them. So being created in Yah's image is both man and woman. It's not just man, it's man and woman. And I'm gonna be like probably really talking about this so we can understand that we too as women are also made in the image of Elohim. We are half of the picture as men are half of the picture. If we keep looking at it in a way of that like women are second thoughts or something, that's a fallacy. We were created in the sense of Yah already had man and woman at the forefront. It wasn't like man, oh, and woman. It was male and female, masculine and feminine. I have both of these images of how I'm going to design humans, but because I'm so much, because Yah is so grand, he's like, I'm gonna literally separate the male and the female and then them two together are going to be one, and that's the image of me. And so I don't want us to sound like we're getting weird or getting into any like weird territory, but I really need to know that Yah is creating us in the image of female and male, but there's a separation still to our function. But when we function together, we have the complete picture of Yah. Yah is both nurturer like a mother, and he is father and disciplinary. Absolutely. Okay. Elohim blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. To subdue it means to literally like conquer it. To subdue it, like to keep control of it. Actually, I want us to look up that word in the Hebrew. So let's, if you have a blue letter Bible or you have your concordinates, we are going to look up what the word subdue means in the Hebrew. So that's Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. And that word subdue breaks down to, I think it's like kabosh. Sounds kind of like, I've looked it up before, but I could be wrong. So let me look it up again. Yep, it is kabosh. Let me see.
Strong's H3533. Kavash.
Kabash.
Kavash.
Okay, so the word subdue in the Hebrew means to subject, to force, to keep under, to bring into bondage. And I know these sound kind of like, oh my gosh, this doesn't sound nice, but rulership, you're putting things that try to get out of order back where they're supposed to be, to keep under your foot, like the serpent, we're crushed the head of the serpent, keep it under your foot, to make it subservient. You are to dominate, you are to tread down. So Yah's literally saying, be fruitful and multiply the earth and subdue it. He wants us to rule over, to keep under, to dominate the rest of creation in his righteous divine order. If you're subduing any other kind of way, maybe you in witchcraft. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Yah has called us to have dominion. He has called us to have authority. To subdue is not a soft word. It's very aggressive. That's not saying that we move in hate or anything, but his spirit, because Yah's spirit is so palpable, it's so powerful, it's an all-consuming fire. You have no other option but to subdue and to keep under your foot anything that tries to violate the divine order of Yah. Any questions, comments, commentary? Okay. Well, I guess I'll keep reading. All right. Elohim blessed them and he said to them, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds of the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then Elohim said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and for every tree that has fruit with seeds in it. They will be yours for food. And I know there are some teachings that say, see right here, we're supposed to be vegetarians, we're supposed to be vegans. And I can't say I don't agree with that. Because he's saying it right here. In the perfect picture of things, we probably wouldn't be eating meat. And but I'm not saying, but Yah has given us provision. He's given us a whole clean, unclean foods list. So hey, sin entered the picture and Yah started operating in some provisions for us because there had to be a system in place to atone for sin. And so, but I just wanted to point out this here because you might find some people who use this verse to say that we should not be eating meat at all. So I do want to point out this is probably where they're getting that from. I don't argue with those kind of people. Like, if you want to eat fruits and vegetables, cool. I've done that before. I think it's great, but I'm not going to condemn someone because they still want to eat their lamb or eat their steak, because Yah doesn't say that eating lamb or steak is a sin. He says, actually, those are clean foods for you. You can go ahead and consume those. But I did want to make that apparent. If you ever get into a conversation with someone and they're saying that it's against divine order for us to eat animals at all, I want to show you that this is probably where they're getting that doctrine from.
There's something that came to my thoughts is little humorous. Well, if anybody ever has someone challenge them to that degree, just ask them like, okay, so has it been fulfilled where it says that the child and the lion will lie down together and there will be, peace? I mean, there's scripture that talks about when Yeshua restores everything. I'm sure we won't be eating animals at that time because there's a restoration of peace. So I don't know. It's just a little humorous. I was just thinking about it as you said, though.
Yeah. I like these conversations because, like, I don't ever want any of my sisters to be like taken aback when someone shows this to them and they're just like, see, we're supposed to be, you know, operating like this, operating like that. And I'm never gonna say I disagree with them. Like if you have the discipline, not saying it's a lack of discipline, but if you have already have decided to live a lifestyle to where you're not gonna eat, if that you're vegan and whatnot, go ahead by all means. Like you're not breaking any commandments, go ahead, right? But it gets into the error territory when you try to make it law, when we have the Torah, the instructions that tells us what is okay for us to eat and what is not. And like Aisha said, we're not even subduing the way we're supposed to right now. Because if you were, you could lay down with a lion and a lamb and not have to worry about them eating you. You know what I'm saying? So like this is a picture of how we were before sin and error entered this earth. It was completely different from where it is now. We are constantly battling with even learning what subduing looks like. Some of us haven't even mastered how to subdue certain desires or predilections in our own hearts. Y'all dealing with us on those things, and you're trying to jump into subduing a lion and a tiger. Hold on. So just wanted to bring that out there because we should be, we should know the word, and we should know how to have conversations with people who may come at you in another type of vein, because I've seen it.
And that's Isaiah 65:25 is what I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Isaiah 65:25. That's the one about the lion and the child, or yeah.
I always say, like, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Hey y'all. I always say, like, it's because one of my friends who's like still kind of like in Christianity, but she's like curious, she just doesn't understand how 2,000 years of religion is a lie. And I'm like, girl, I know it's overwhelming. But we were having a conversation, and I was like, I think a problem comes in is like when people push personal conviction onto others and, like you said, try to make it law. Like, because she asked me about drinking. She's like, why do so many Christians say that drinking is a sin? And I'm like, that's not in the law. That's not in the Bible. There are places in the Bible where Yah says wine is good for the heart, but drunkenness, he condemns. So, like, if you want to have a glass or two of wine, that's not condemned, but like obviously walking around drunk every weekend, that is. So I'm like, but the Holy Spirit may push somebody to stop drinking completely 100%, but then they'll push that conviction onto others and make it law.
Right.
So, like you said, the error comes in when people try to make something law or add to, what Yah said was good and not good, right?
Yeah, that's it right there. Because y'all had put that on me as a conviction to stop drinking, but I also am like, yeah, but it's not in the law. Like, obviously, I love me some wine. Like when y'all told me to put down all alcohol, I had already stopped being a drunk because I was in my hot girl years. I would go out every weekend. I would go out every day of every weekend. Okay, I would be at the bars. I would be at the club. Like I would drink and I would get drunk. But then I surrendered my life to Yah. I stopped doing that, but I would still drink wine. I still enjoyed a glass of wine. I love tasting different wines, right? But then it came a part in my my deliverance journey where Yah told me to cut out all drinking. Now he hasn't said that to everybody, but for me, he told me to stop drinking completely. I did it, and after I was obedient to that, he revealed some deeper traumas that had happened to me in my life, and he knew that if I was still drinking, I would go back to that, just to kind of like numb the process of me having these deep revelations about things that have happened in my life. He still hasn't told me that I could or couldn't drink yet. But again, I've never been one to just be like, oh, don't drink. Yah says we can't drink. No, he told me to put it down for a season. And so again, like Natalie said it very, very well. It gets into the problem when people are just like, we shouldn't be eating meat at all, because they're like, well, that's a conviction that maybe Yah gave you. I remember Yah told me not to eat meat. I didn't eat meat for like 80 days. I think I was a raw vegan for like 80 days. That was hard. But it wasn't like, I'm going to turn this into a whole doctrine. I'm going to teach everybody not to eat meat. And you shouldn't even cook your vegetables. Like we start getting into like really weird territory when we get into that. And so that's why it's so important for us to know our word. Like what has Yah told you and what his commands are going to do. They're never going to contradict his word. Now you may go beyond what he's told you to do because that's what he's called you to in this season. But to try to make that, and that's what the Pharisees did. You're putting burdens on the people because Yah did not make that an overarching law for everybody. It was something he told you. Even the Nazirite vow, like that is a personal conviction. Not everybody in Israel was a Nazirite. Okay, Nazirites couldn't eat nothing that came off the vine. You tell me no watermelon, no grapes, nothing that comes from the vine. No alcohol. Can't even be around dead bodies. Can't even go to nobody's funeral because you were saying that you're going to consecrate yourself to this vow for Yahuwah, but that's not a vow that you can impose on everybody else. That's something that you have to choose. And so I know I kind of got off on a tangent there, but I want to bring that as a comparison. Like the Nazarite vow is in Torah, it talks about, but it also says that if they choose to. So, and the Nazarite vow doesn't contradict anything else in the law. It's just a deeper commitment to consecration. Oh, thank you, Aisha, for putting that scripture in there in Isaiah that you mentioned about the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young and fatling together. Y'all know we're not there yet, because I want you to put a lamb and a wolf together in the same pen, and you tell me what happens. We're not at this juncture yet. Okay, verse 30. Verse 30. And to all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the sky and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I will give every green plant for food. So that's more in the same vein of what we just read. And it was so. Elohim saw that the land he made, that it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Here we go. Chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in their vast array. By the seventh day, Elohim had finished his work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Then Elohim blessed the seventh day and made it holy, Kodesh, set apart, distinct, because on it he rested from all the work of creating he had done. On this account, the heavens and the earth, when they were created, when Yahuwah Elohim made the earth and the heavens. Now, no shrubbery had yet appeared on the earth, and no plant had yet sprung up. For Yahuwah had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. But streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. All right, I want to pause here. And just as I was reading, I was thinking, like, we're always asking, Yah, send the rain, send the rain. But here we're seeing a beautiful picture that Yah's like, I'm not gonna make it rain and have anything spring, because one, no one's here to work the land. Clearly, he has not placed Adam and Eve in this place yet. We know that they're created because, you know, we're backtracking here in Genesis 2, but he makes a very distinction that says that, like, no plants had yet sprung up. For Yahuwah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground. Now, I want us to go back to cannot send rain because there's no one to work the ground. Earlier, it talked about like all the trees and all the seed-bearing fruits. So I don't know. It's like this picture of like the propheticness of Yah's word. Like the seeds were already there, the ground was already there, everything was there for the trees to grow and for the fruit to be produced, but the water had not come yet. That's a word. The water, the thing that refreshes, the thing that restores, the thing that grows the seed had not come yet. Oh my gosh. The water, the baptism of the water, like Yahuwah, like the word, the living water of the word, like the water had not come yet. So all these things, all these seeds were just in the ground waiting for the water. The water is what activated the growth. They were just sitting there. Seeds are dead things. Like they don't like when you put a seed in the ground, it's just there. It's like a burial. Quite literally, water comes and then it literally bursts forth anew. And then, okay. But the streams came up from
sorry, that was good.
I was like, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Like,
no, girl, that was good. I was like, no, don't just, you know.
She's so excited too. She
busting
at the seam.
Yeah, I was picking up what you was putting down. I was like, yeah, I was like, man, that's powerful, because those seeds are on the inside of us. And one of my prayers, something that I always pray, is that Abba, awaken the seed that you planted on the inside of us, those seeds, those giftings, those anointings that you put on the inside of us, because they need to be activated for us to do the work of the kingdom.
Yeah.
So yes, that was good. That was a good foot stump. You needed to remain there and sit with that for a
I was
while.
like, am I crazy? Y'all get what I'm saying?
No, girl, that was no. I was like, when she was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. They ain't, no, that was good. That was good.
But you just read the word that said he created us in his likeness and image. So it was there. He made that from the beginning in us. So yes, to be watered. And I just was seeing the picture of that one drop of water. That one drop of water is that, like, you wake up and say thank you. That one drop of water is that you decide to say your prayers. That one drop of water is you share the word, and then that stuff just totally, like, it flourishes and grows, but it was always there.
Yeah.
That connection. You start having that relationship, and then things just start blessing you and flourishing, and that revelation for stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, that drop of water is powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are some questions that I obviously, like I said, a lot of this stuff I pulled from the book because I already wrote a whole bunch of notes on Genesis. And so I put some reflective questions for each chapter. And for the end of chapter 1, I put, are there areas in our life where you resisted the Ruach's gentle hovering? Because we talked about the hovering presence in the beginning, how Yahuwah hovered over the face of the deep. What darkness is Yahuwah asking you to separate from so he can assign righteous function? Do you recognize the difference between active and righteous function? Are you moving in divine order? And so these are just like thoughts to ponder, thoughts to question, thoughts to journal, and to really just sit with like, okay, yeah, I know you're hovering over this area of my life. Even this week, I've had areas where I know y'all was hovering. I'm just like, okay, I need to separate from this. This is not a really good habit. And it's not even things that are sinful according to breaking commandments, but it's dysfunctional to my function. It's dysfunctional to the calling that Yah is calling me to. There are some habits, some bedtimes that I should have went to bed. I'm still up, doing things that aren't profitable, watching TV or spending too much time like in things that don't attain to finishing the things that he's assigned me to. Those are areas where he is literally gently hovering over me. He's just like, are you gonna separate from this function? Because it's dysfunctional to your function. And that's a deeper thing than just like, oh, stop eating unclean food, or honor the feast days, separate from pagan holidays. Now those are like, that's basic stuff, right? Now we're getting to, okay, now you're walking in obedience, but are you going to walk in divine order that Yah has set for your life?
Yeah, that's like the washing of the word. When you get in the word and it starts washing you, now you got to clean up all these little areas that are not bad, like you said, but it's things that's taken away from you doing the work of building up the kingdom,
Yeah. Okay, verse 7. Then Yahuwah Elohim formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man became a living being. And so, I think the word, hold on, let me go through the notes. Is this word breath? Is that the same as ruach? Octavius, you gonna say something? Oh, okay. I just saw your mic had come up. Okay, so dust of the ground. So literally, man is a combination of literally dust and breath. That's why you see, was it Solomon? Yes, Solomon was like, life is but a vapor. Literally, like you are literally nothing. It's literally by Yah's spirit that you move, breathe, and function. And I want to bring it to this point. So earlier, some weeks ago, Yah was giving me a revelation about the wheat in the tares, but really more so like the wheat in the chaff. He's like, it's deeper than just being a wheat. It's not enough that you're just wheat. You have to become like grain. You have to become powder. You have to become bread. And it made me think of like Adam being formed from the dust. Like the wheat has to be ground into a powder that literally looks like dust, like nothingness. So this picture of man or humanity is that You are nothing, and then Yah's spirit enters into you, and then you become in his image. And so when we are coming into the knowledge of truth, we have to literally become nothing again. You have to literally become dust in his presence, allow him to crush. So I want to, if you have some time, look up a video of wheat being separated, the chaff being crushed, the chaff being removed, and then there's a grinding that happens to the grain where it literally becomes powder, dust. You have to become dust before Yahuwah. And then when you're submitted, you're surrendered, his spirit can enter into you, and then you can be functional. And so that's like the picture when it says like he was born from the dust of the ground. Everything that Yah created, he's made from the creation of Yah, but there's something different than the rest of the animals. All the animals have like the spirit of Elohim in them, but man has a portion of dominion and authority that is the full likeness of Yah. Now, Yahuwah had planted the garden in the east in Eden, and there he put man he had formed. So we're seeing this picture. Yah created all of the whole heavens and the earth, but man was not formed in the same place that he was called to have dominion over. You are formed and fashioned outside of the territory that Yah has assigned for you. And so it may look like, yeah, well, where's the territory? Where's the calling? Da, 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 da. He's forming and preparing you outside of the place that he has for you. And then when you are ready, then he will place you in the place that you are called to have dominion over. It's this beautiful picture of his divine order. Like he's never going to put you somewhere if you're not equipped or ready for you. And sometimes we were trying to put ourselves in places, and Yah's like, no, wait for me to place you there. I know I have that note in here somewhere. Yeah, here it goes. Genesis 2 reveals another profound truth. Yahuwah formed Adam outside of Eden and then placed him in the garden. This shows that preparation precedes placement. Yahuwah took man and put him in the garden to work it and to guard it. And so also I talked about the word establish again, that me and T talked about this some months ago, but the word established means to be secured, to be fixed, to be enduring. Yah is not a reckless placer. He forms us with precision, and then places us with purpose. We're not where we are by accident, and he establishes a man before he's entrusted, before he will entrust him with territory. And that's what we're seeing in this picture with Adam being formed and created. Yahuwah made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eyes and good for food. In the middle of the garden, there was the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So again, we're seeing distinction and separation. There's a tree of life, there's food, there's trees that are good for food, and then there's a tree that's for good and evil, which should already be our first indication of like what's going on. Okay. I want to pause here because I kind of want to foot stomp. That so there's life, and then there's mixed knowledge. There's always a choice of covenant. And so the tree of life was always present. So was the tree of knowledge. Adam and Eve were not forced to choose knowledge over obedience. They were seduced by it, but Yahuwah made it clear, so but the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat from, for that day you shall eat it, you shall surely die. But we also kind of bypass the fact that Yah always said that like there is a tree of life that's available, but humanity chose a mixture. Humanity chose to be mixed with good and evil when we could have just had life, and life is good. And so looking at the tree of not just, oh, there's an evil tree and there's a good tree, there's a tree that is pure, but then there's a tree that is mixed. And we know that Yah is not about mixture because everything he had created like kind. Now there's this one tree that's producing something that's a mixture of like kind, but also not. Okay. A river watering the garden flowed from Eden. From there, it was separated into 4 headwaters. Now, Pardon me if I butcher these names. The name of the first is Pison. It winds through the entire land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of the land is good. Amaranth, resin, oxen are also there. The name of the second river is Gishon. It winds through the entire land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris. It runs along the east side of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to take care of it. So another translation is to work it and to guard it, to keep it. Like we are to guard his commands. We are to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. It's the same function. You are to guard it, not just, hey, don't touch it. No, you're supposed to have reverence for it, keep it, dress it, keep it functional, to work it and to take care of it. Also, I want to put a caveat note here. A lot of people trying to figure out what the Garden of Eden is. And me and Aisha talked about this some weeks ago. Like, you know what? It really don't matter. Some of these conversations that a lot of people are having about where's the Garden of Eden? Where's the promised land? I'm not going to, like, for some people that may lead them into all truth. Cool. I mean, not lead them all. That conversation or those questions may lead them to deeper search their word for the truth. But if it's not producing a fruit of obedience and humility to follow and to seek Yahweh with your whole heart and believe in the salvation of Yahushua HaMashiach, it's vanity. There's a lot of conversations going on in our communities about things that are not producing righteous fruit. Having a conversation of where the Garden of Eden is, that's not your business. Like, that's not your business, sis. It's not your business, because Yah is gonna put us where we're supposed to be when the time comes. You're trying to figure out if the land of Israel is that little corner of land that they're arguing over right now on the internet, or if it's the sub-Sahara in Africa. That's not your business.
But can you imagine how bad your feelings would be hurt if you really had it on the map? You got off your little bus, your little whatever, and you showed up and them angels was for real standing there guarded and you couldn't get access. I mean, I'm like, can our natural state mentally handle something like that? And I wonder if it's an entitlement of Americans or just scholars, period, but just that whole in totality. How do you think mentally you could handle that?
We can't handle it, sis.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
We're not even
So,
prepared. People not prepared to see no 30-foot tall angel. I mean, we think that they're cute
if
looking
he
like
gave us
cherubs.
what we asked for. Yes. I'm
Nobody
like
wanna see
the
that.
whole
Not right now.
yeah. I mean,
Like, the focus is, he says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, to be a bride found without spot or blemish. You try to figure out where Eden is, or where the real Israel, or even where the Ark of the Covenant is. None of that pertains to you.
Thank you.
Like, and it's just like, for months now, I haven't said anything. I haven't made a lot of videos lately because I'm just like, there's so much to talk about. And I'm just irritated because we're missing the plot. We're missing the real thing at hand, is that repent and believe. The true good news is repent and believe, return, be back in the house.
Yes.
That's the distraction.
It's distractions. And our people are like, oh,
That's
all
it.
that knowledge, and you've not come to revelation of who Yahuwah is. Ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of truth. So
That's so good.
you know, like I commend a lot of scholars, and I think it's great that you have that desire, but like, you're missing the plot.
Yes, sis, it's like you said, it's just a huge distraction. And what are we gonna do with the information if you get it? Like, are we gonna be walking in Yeshua's shoes? You know what I mean? Are we gonna be doing what he's said he would? Like, we find out, oh yeah, Israel is, then what? All right. Oh yeah, Garden of Eden is up there, then what? Right.
That's so funny,
and-
Isha. I was thinking the same way. And what? And what?
And yeah, right. And we still haven't circumcised our hearts, right? The everyday, we so focused on all of those things that really like, and what?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's really what the majority of the people right now are focused in on right now. they focused in on the where to the point that they're losing the who and what's gonna happen if you don't tighten up.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think this stuff is really hitting home too. You know, we had a sis in another one of our in a Shabbat assembly that I attend. She's a good friend. She's on here too. Her daughter was at one of those camps that got flooded out in in Texas or whatever. But Abba had placed on her heart, she was supposed to be there for another month to leave, early. She was supposed to be there until July, like 27th or something. And she left 7 days before the storm hit. Abba gave her the wherewithal, he put a check in her ruach that she needed to leave. That's the kind of sensitivity we need to be having now. We don't need all this other stuff we're worrying about. We need to be making sure that we have really our election is sure, that we have chosen Abba. We're walking out this walk with fear and trembling. We're looking to him, and all this other stuff that's trying to be dangled over us, it doesn't even matter. It does not matter. We really need to be, really seeking him and sitting in his presence and like, okay, Abba, what is it am I supposed to be doing? Where am I supposed to be? What is my, like Taryn like to say, assignment for this season in my life? Because it's getting real out here in these streets. And then also, sis, to piggyback on that, just to testify to what you just said, these last 3 days, let me just briefly, 3 days ago, lost my car keys. Okay. Couldn't find them. Now, mind you, I'm getting calls from like Kingdom Moms. My car broke down. This happened. Can't find my car keys. Okay. And I'm just like, okay, God, okay, what is it that you're trying to tell me? Like something. And now because of my mind frame, I'm like, okay, yeah, like either you are stopping me from going somewhere or whatever the case might be. So let me just go ahead and sit it on down. Right. Then the next day I found the keys. Okay. So when the keys get found, I went to go leave the house again. And I'm like, all right, let me grab my keys. I got my keys. Let me go get my wallet. Can't find my wallet. The wallet was right in an area that it could be lost. And so I was like, okay, maybe Dominic grab my wallet. So now I can't go anywhere because I don't have any money because all of my cards are in the wallet. Okay. Well, the next day, so cell phone can't pay the bill. Can't pay the bill because I don't have the wallet to the cards to pay the bill when I got the money to pay the bill to turn the phone off. Right. So the whole time I'm like, okay, Abba, like, what are you showing me? Like, you have me in a position. And so it was just like sitting still and just accepting the fact that he is in control and not even questioning him as to the why. Something, I don't care about the why. Everybody else is like, oh, but I'm talking about my family calling me, blowing my phone up, calling other people. Have you heard from Dominique? We trying to call her phone. Her phone's off, blah, blah, like all this stuff. I can't go buy diapers for Dominic. You know what I'm saying? Like all the things that are attached to everything. And I'm just like, whatever it is, I'm just going to stand still. And I'm not moving. It's one of those moments where you're like, I trust you, Abba. No, it's true. No, that's exactly what it is. Now, everybody else though around me is like, oh, but you got to get this. I got to get this. I'm like, and then even I'm telling T, I'm like, T, we're doing all this marketing for business. I'm getting people calling me left and right now. Like messages are coming through. And I'm like, I can't call these folks. Okay, well, all right. Well, I guess I'll get to them when I get to them, So it's like, I don't know the reason, but that's the part there. We have to stop being concerned with the reason and be obedient when he's stopping us. And what happens is there's quite a few things I could have done, right? I could have not got the memo and fought against what he was stopping me from doing. Okay.
where we put ourselves in positions and circumstances and predicaments that we shouldn't be in because we come up against him when he's telling us to sit down somewhere, stop, nope, I don't want you to go here, no. I need whatever it is that he's requesting us to do, and we don't do it. You know, we go against what his will is. The outcome, you know, it can cost us. Like the woman that you just spoke of, or her daughter. Hypothetically speaking, let's say if she wasn't obedient to what the Most High told her to do. Let's just say she decided to stay that entire month. You know,
Yes. You know, that's like
we
an hour
have to
and a half
really like stop. Just stop. That's really what it is. We have to just really stop and listen.
Yeah, that unction. He puts that unction in us, and
Yes.
we feel it. But like you said, the first thing you did was you was like, okay, Father, like, you know, slow down, sit down,
Yeah.
something. And
Something.
I was telling
I know what
Latanya,
it is, but it's something. I don't know, but whatever it is, I know he know better than I would. So my
yeah,
trust is in him. So I
and
am
some,
trusting that he gonna take care of whatever it is that I can't take care of.
yeah, so thankful. The little one is good because I was telling Latanya, I think like a week ago, I want to say it's like 23 kids were missing, and they're finding them washed down the way or just, you know, whatever. And you know, she could have been concerned about the why or whatever, or well, I'll do it in a couple days, or maybe I paid my money and, you know, I don't want to lose like anything like that. But like when we hear it's about you just know you trust him, and that's what it is. I mean,
She was a counselor, and so
Lord,
she was getting paid, like, you know, but for what it was her and her best friend. They said they felt led, you know, that they needed to leave, and then a week later, yeah.
Hallelujah. And that, you know, like Latanya said in our Shabbat assembly, we kind of talked about that because, you know, that's one of our sisters. And I met her daughter, and the thing that we kind of just got over, or not got over, but the thing that we got out of that whole conversation was that, like everyone's been saying, we're in a season to where if you're not sitting with Yah and being spiritually, I'm gonna say, I don't like the word saying spiritually sensitive. I like saying being spiritually aware of what Yah is doing in the earth. It could cost you your life. Like if you just dismiss the unction of the Ruach HaKodesh, it could cost you your life or someone else's life. And Yah saying, those who hear, those are my sheep that will hear my voice. Like to hear and do to Shema, to literally be one that guards his word, who sits and waits to hear from him on what we're supposed to do in our next steps. Yeah, it's literally the work, it's the taking care of what he said, and when you hear his voice, to move accordingly. And like Dominique was saying, if you don't be still, if you're always trying to move and shake and trying to make something happen in your own strength, we could miss what Yah is trying to teach us or grow us in that season, even if it's uncomfortable, being like, okay, well, my phone turned off, I don't have this bill to be paid. It's like, I just want you to sit, you know, with me, to trust me in this, you know. Natalie and I mentioned this a couple Fridays ago when we were talking about the coming out of Egypt, the coming out of Babylon. People are still waiting for this. We're still waiting for a wilderness or the wilderness, when really being in the wilderness is also a mindset. Like a lot of us are still attached to Babylonian or Egyptian or American ideas of what success and security looks like, when Yah's like, I'm still taking you out of Babylon, but you still have a process. Like our ancestors, the Israelites, they came out of Egypt, but their mindset was still on, well, in Egypt, we had this, this, and that. We had that, we had this. And y'all's like, I'm calling you to just want to have me and to trust that I got you. Like we're talking about, we're going to get to the Sabbath, to the Shabbat, because that's what he was trying to teach them about the manna from heaven, the quail raining down. It was about, you're wishing that you had the things that you had when you were in Egypt. You want to live like the Egyptians still and say you have me, but I'm saying trust in me, and I will supply your food for you. Even on this day when you don't have to go outside and gather, I just want you to rest and trust that I got you. That is the picture of Shabbat. It's about resting. It's about trusting. It's about guarding, keeping his word, not just keeping it because you say you're doing it, but to believe it The repent and believe, to not just say you're doing it because you're doing it, but to actually believe the word and what it does. So in verse 16 of Genesis 2, it says, and Yahuwah commanded the man, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of it, you will certainly die. And so this is the first time we're seeing a command of not to do, right? Everything else has been like, I created this, I made a separation, I made a distinction, I give it function, I give it purpose. And for you to continue in your purpose, do not touch this. For you to continue in what I've assigned for you in the territory expansion that I've given you, do not participate over here. It's like you wanted identity, you wanted function. I gave you identity, I gave you function. But with this identity and this function and this dominion and this authority to rule, you cannot participate in X, Y, and Z. This is literally the whole setup of Torah.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, sis.
And this is a serious question because I'm battling with this. And this is for everyone to answer if that's okay. Being in this journey, in this truth reading and gaining a relationship with Yah, how often are you guys convicted to fast?
Often.
All the time.
I mean, do we do it? I mean, do you guys do it? If you don't mind me asking.
I
Yeah.
fast at least once a week.
Yeah, I fast once a week.
I've been doing it daily at a certain time, yes.
Okay. So
At
when
least once a week.
what about you, Samara? Just curious.
Yeah.
How
No,
often you fast?
definitely getting. So the last fast I did was probably a couple weeks ago.
How long do you guys normally fast, if you don't mind me asking?
It depends.
just-
Honestly.
yeah.
I know, yeah,
Yeah,
it
depends
depends.
on-
Depends.
Whatever
depends on
Yah
the-
lays upon the heart, I would say, and
Okay.
instructs us specifically. It instructs you. It's not like a control or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no legalism involved in that. But
Right.
we all
Yeah.
believe that we have a special and a personal relationship with Yah, and so as He leads you, that's.
Yeah.
I think that I can speak for a lot of us when I say that.
Like I know if I'm being guided, and I this is just myself, but like if I know I'm about to be presented with, and he prepares me for, let's say, a conversation, or I know that I'm about to go into, I don't know, because I mentor a lot of my kingdom moms. I know he'll call me to fast during those conversations that I can't
Good.
partake in anything because I don't, so I can't really,
That makes sense.
yeah. But I can tell you though, the clarity, when he requests me to do that I
Right.
receive when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So that's what he had to show me, because I
Yeah.
had to learn. Like nobody ever taught me, when I first fasted my first time, I'll never forget, I was just like, he pushed me in it, and it was hardcore, 7-day, no food, nothing. And I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, I never experienced that before. So
Right.
after I did that, I realized, okay, this is much deeper than I ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
And there's the reasoning for it. But then like we all said, when he calls us to do it again, or how he decides, for us to do it is all different.
Right.
Yeah.
I asked because so I would say maybe it's so about a year now, maybe a little over a year. I've been exposing myself to fasting, and I don't do it often. I only do it when I feel led to. But recently, I've been very, very convicted because I understand, like I understand more of what Yah wants for me, like for His children, and surrendering to a fast is where I'm struggling. Not because I've never done it, because the longest fast I've done was a 30-day fast, but that was a year ago. Um, yeah.
No, I'm with you. It's what it is, and it's for all of us, it's discipline. And this,
Yes.
and what I'm telling you, what the Father just said. So just now, he said, because he just, as you're speaking, he checked my spirit. So I'm going to say to you what he said to me. He says, the
Yes.
same way that you're not in the gym is the same way that she's not fasting.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Wait. Say that one more time.
I'm gonna say it
Okay.
one more time so the back can hear. The same way that I am not in the gym is the same reason why, the same way that you're not fasting. You see what I'm saying? It's discipline. So
Okay.
he put that in a form, like sometimes like we'll get in the gym, we'll get on our grind, we're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna do this, I got it. And then all of a sudden we just fall off.
Right.
And then we look back and we like, wait a minute, I'm not looking the same. Like I done gained like 35 pounds. Like what's going on? It's the same thing in our fasting and praying. It's like,
Right.
wait a minute,
Right.
what's going on? I need to do
Right.
something. Like, so that's what it is discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not really good at like communicating how I really, like what I'm thinking. Some reason I get very flustered when it's my time to speak and I go to stuttering. Um, I'm just gonna say Abba put me off of social media, and he did this last year. I was off for 6 months, and I feel like he's doing it again. But I know that the enemy has always tried to bring like stumbling blocks, trying to prevent me from moving forward, because I know that every time I fast, I get a breakthrough. But some reason this fast is making it hard. Was not that it's making it hard. Something is preventing me from surrendering when I already know, like I'm gonna feel light. I'm gonna be able to, be more spiritually alive, more spiritually lifted. I'm gonna have more clarity. And it's not even that I do anything wrong, because I don't literally have a life. All I do is work, come home, I read every day, but I can tell that I'm under spiritual
Attack.
attacks because
Yeah.
I'm very anxious. I've been a lot anxious lately.
Mm-hmm.
My conscience, like these past couple of nights, I've been like crying up to, just crying to Yah, like, Yah, why can't I just get back in, conform like I want to, because I already know the blessings I'm gonna get from this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
That's
just
okay, sis.
I was
Take your
gonna
time too.
And I'm with
It's
you.
okay.
just
I'm with you.
and then I was thinking too that maybe sometimes we Latanya said this a couple months ago in a study we had, and she's like, keep your assignment, keep your appointment. That's what she said. Keep your appointment, because like I don't know, sometimes we go into a fast and we got all these things that we want to focus or put stuff or we want to bring to him, but maybe it's just praise and worship. Maybe it's just like every day I just because like anytime you're spending time in prayer, you come out a little bit more peaceful. But
right.
maybe we're just and I'm not saying overthinking it, but I know when we were doing a corporate thing for the men, I wrote out specific things every day that I
Right.
thought that this is what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do this and I'm doing this and I'm gonna do 3 days of liquid and on this day I'm gonna do whatever, and then this day I walk the block all the time. I said when I walk I'm gonna do nothing but pray like in the spirit. I'm gonna do, and
Right.
I had all these things that I put on myself and it didn't turn out like that. Maybe one out of them 7 days or something, and then
Right.
and the encouragement from the group or from the sisters is like you go into prayer or you go into and maybe that's what it is, just a restoration for you, maybe not so much as an attack but just like lifting the
No,
burden.
I'm going through attacks.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm with you, but I'm saying
I'm going,
sometimes I
yeah,
think we
yeah,
we
I'm
we
going through
put that
attacks.
on us, and anytime like you're setting yourself to say, hey, I'm getting ready to do this,
And you're,
like maybe it's
mm-hmm.
a medication thing, maybe you get
Yeah.
sick, maybe there's some kind of other thing in the family that kind of messes with how you would have structured that fast. But you can
Yeah.
abstain from things, but you can also give. I know like when I was early, starting in something, again, one of my sisters, like we just used to go for lunch once a week and sit at a park and, kind of spend some time. So maybe because I couldn't do some other things or whatever, but I mean, it's still about the relationship piece. It's still about,
Yeah.
I mean, you can give as much as like, hey, I'm going to strip this away and I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this, but you can still, you know, uh, fast in a way to say that like, the 6 a.m. prayer or, something else.
I have
It
something
doesn't have to be traditional. You know how we're
Right.
saying maybe so many days
I
without
want to
food.
pose. I
But
want to pose a thought as well. A lot of times when we're fasting like for specific things, right? We have like, oh, I want to break this, I want to break that off, which are great. But I want to tailor it to maybe the next time we fast or when we're seeking Yah, because if we seek Him with our whole heart, He answers us. Um,
yeah,
Asking Yah, like, what is it that He wants from you?
right,
Like,
right,
a lot of times we pray and we fast because we're like, oh, a prayer and a fasting, that's how those bonds are set free. But a lot of times we're not asking Yah, we're pleading for Him to do something for us. But a lot of times our fast isn't pointed towards,
towards
yeah,
him.
what
Yeah.
can I do for you? How can I serve
Hmm.
you? And even in that sense of like, yeah, I want to serve you better. Please reveal to me what's hindering my service to you.
Right.
What is a block
That's
in my service to you? And so I just wanted to pose, that
Yeah.
question. Go ahead, Alicia, you wanted to share something?
Yeah.
before you.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to piggyback of what you guys were saying. Um, so that's basically what I've been heavy on my spirit. When I read, it's not the same like it used to where I just read just to say I read the Bible. I read so that I can like I want to hear Yah's words. I want like my main focus reading now is what did Yahushua say, and I try to try to get details and a sense of like how our ancestors responded to our Father and our Savior, because that helps me understand what I need to do, and I'm understanding in this fast versus my very first longest fast. Like because I fasted for 7 days. I've done 3 2-day fasts, but my longest was the 30-day fast, but it was just juice, strictly juice. And that fast was totally it was beautiful. He put on my spirit to just go through Proverbs. So every morning I went through Proverbs, but I dissected the each chapter, because um I had a I had a hard time like comprehending his word last year. Um like I can understand it, but I couldn't really like comprehend it as much as I wanted to. So during that fast, it was just me, going through Proverbs, understanding what it meant to really be in the presence of wisdom, and having understanding and being obedient, and like taking heed to his Torah. That was my main focus. But of course, he would have me wake up. I woke up like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, me and my son. He would have dreams. I would have dreams. We would speak on them, depending on what type of dreams it was. Because towards like the ending of our fast, and always at the beginning of our fast, that's when we would get attacked by the enemy. But in the middle of our dream, we would just be battling, so forth. But this fast is different because I could tell Abba is trying to push me into another fast, and it's been heavy on my heart. I've gained so much weight from my last fast, to where I can see that I have a stronghold with gluttony. And that's what's hindering me from surrendering. But this fast is different, because just like what Samara said, it makes me want to go in with a different perspective. Um, I don't have certain strongholds that I have had anymore. I mean, had before. It's more of, okay, I know I need more healing, in a sense of just having more clarity, being able to hear his voice, being able to be more, sure of what it is he wants me to do, because I've been through a lot, and I know I didn't go through all this for no reason, but I don't want to make the wrong mistake either. And that's why when my spirit tells me to get off social media, detox. He has me do a lot of detoxing. And I try to put my phone away a lot of times because I understand that whatever I am attached to, whatever I spend too much time with is what the enemy will try to use against me. And that's the part where I am getting to the point to where, okay, this fast, not only do I need to be still and just listen to him and just, be in his presence, but I need to be able to hear him. And I'm struggling with that because it's like, okay, Father, yeah, this fast is different from my last one. The last one, I wanted to get over homosexuality. I was tired of having nightmares and incubus and succubus. I got tired of it. But this time it's different. It's like the enemy constantly uses tactics to distract me. And instead of me, like now my reading game is on point in a sense of like, like when I read my Bible, I feel like it's almost like I'm there now. Like he's painting the pictures and I'm enjoying it. But then the enemy also distracts me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but I feel like I have a spirit blockage at this moment.
You're not rambling. Not at all.
My son did a fast, which you know, I'm just grateful because I'm grateful regardless of what I'm going through. I'm just glad that he's gotten to the point to where he sees he's seeing my struggles right now, and he's starting to learn. Even though my mom has guided me as much as she could with, yeah, I have to now be mature and understand that if my mom can't turn over her plate, I still have to turn over mine, and that's what he's doing. I was sharing with the ladies the other day that my son admitted to pornography. He's been doing really good. He messed up once since then, but 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 he just got out of a fast, and I couldn't even get in with him. But I think my situation is a little bit different because I'm not fighting for lust and sex, even though gluttony still is lust. I want to hear his voice. I want to be still. I want clarity. I want the anxiousness to go away.
Sis, so I have, this is right on time. Um, you have children. I have a kingdom mom that just shared her testimony in regards to what you're experiencing right now, down to the T. And so I'm here to tell you, and I've been walking with her from the beginning, when she was living in her lifestyle at that time. And so you most definitely are under attack. So that's what this is. But I know what the Father is capable of doing.
Of
And the
course.
reason why this attack is so heavy on you right
Whew.
now, because this thing is heavy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you it's heavy. It's heavy because the enemy, you have to understand, the enemy is big mad. You understand?
Yeah.
He's so
Mm-hmm.
mad with us right now
Mm-hmm.
that everything that he can do to block you from changing. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're telling me that your son is in the process of his change. So this is why you have to fight even harder. Okay. This is not for the weak. It's not.
Yeah,
So the
definitely.
same way you fight, because you don't seem weak in the flesh either. So the same way you not weak there, you can't be like that in the spirit. It has to be this fight inside of you that you're going to have to continue to fight until the wheels fall off, because he's called you to not only, this is not just for you. This
Yeah.
is for other women. This is for other men. This is for other people. So like what we go through, it's not just for me. And like you said, and I wrote this down, what you said. You said, I know I didn't go through all of this for nothing, because you didn't. You did not go through all of this for nothing, because I know I didn't go through all of this for nothing. And so Yah has showed me who I'm going through this for, why I'm going through this. And so now that he's shown me the who and the why, now I know, okay, now my gloves are on and now the fight is different. It's
Yeah.
different. That's what's going to keep you out of sin. This is what's going to keep you pure. This is what's going to keep you locked in. It's because you need to know who you're fighting up against.
Right. And the thing is, I've already made a vow that I wouldn't mind being just one of those individuals to intercede. And I already know what that comes with. I know I need to fast more often so that y'all can
Yes.
completely purify me.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I've already vocalized that out in the universe, I feel like now it's like, okay, I'm getting all these attacks, but they're not attacks as if like it was something like detrimental, like my
Oh, I
trauma
know.
that I experienced as my childhood. It's
No, I know.
like they almost feel as if like when I used to smoke marijuana. You know how like when you go when you're getting off of a drug or alcohol, you know
Mm-hmm.
you got to go through withdrawals. That's basically
Yes.
what I'm feeling right now because of this gluttony I've allowed in. And the thing is, it's so sneaky. Gluttony spirit is so sneaky because it's like, okay, I did away with everything y'all told me to do. I don't even hang with people. It's been like 2 years since I've been in a relationship. It's been 2 years since I went to any club. I don't drink anymore. I got rid of everything. I don't do anything but work and come home and I read my Bible. I fast when I'm led to. But it's like now is at the point where I started to eat and I didn't think anything wrong
It's
was getting out of
addiction.
it. I didn't
It's
think
a
nothing was
mm-hmm.
wrong with it. So
Mm-hmm.
so gluttony has become my like almost my weed
Yeah,
now.
it's replaced it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's an addiction. Yeah.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it does. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is the weirdest thing is I don't eat all day. It's only at specific times. Only at
Mm-hmm.
nighttime is when I want to eat. And that's the only time where I struggle. I can go to work and don't even think about food. During the daytime is when I can fast and won't have a problem with fasting. But at nighttime, soon as nighttime come, that's when okay, I'm thinking about cake and ice cream, and I'm thinking about food, and I want to watch TV so I can eat my cake and ice cream, almost as if it's like an emotional
Mm-hmm.
eating too. But the thing is, I don't have nothing to be emotional about. So I
You
really
do. You do. I'm gonna tell
probably
you what you
do,
have to. I'm gonna
probably
tell you
do.
why. It's because that's what I'm speaking to you because I'm speaking to me. I'm telling
No,
you.
you
We
good,
it
you
is.
good.
It is something to be emotional about because the emotion is if that is the way that the enemy can devour us up, that's how
That's
he
what we
gonna
gonna
do it.
try. That's and my spirit's been so heavy because
If
I.
that's how he's gonna come in, let me he so
Mhm.
and exactly what you said, but I'm doing this right, I'm doing that right. He said, but I can catch you slipping in one area.
Yeah.
So that's the area that, and I'm with you
Mhm.
on this one. So even when we get off this call, I do want to link up with you outside of this. Um, and I would like to help you
Please,
one
that
on
that would
one.
be
Yeah.
please. I love accountability.
Yeah.
I learned in this journey we have to be humble. I've been very alone trying to do this, and yeah, it's not easy, but it's. I'm not gonna give up. That I'm not.
No.
Like I can't give up. Like I don't came this far. And the fact that I know y'all's presence, like I've been in it. I
Yep.
want that, and I want to
There-
keep it.
Yeah, there's no going back.
There's
Mm-mm.
no going back. Never.
I want
Nope.
us to read from the chat because Tanisha said that she felt like like she's going through the same exact thing right now, and so I did want to mention that
Hallelujah.
in this
Hallelujah.
season, the enemy is increasing his tactics and how he tries to attack and oppress us.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, it's gluttony. For
Yes,
someone
sis.
else, it may be this. For me, I know I've really been fighting with being more diligent in the things that Yah has called me to complete. And so it's just like, oh Yah, why is it so hard? I feel like there's a cloud to where I can't focus on certain things. And it's like we recognize it. We're just like, yeah, what is this? And what Yah's been telling me is like you just have to you have to live more in the spirit in the sense of like your diligence to literally subdue your flesh has to
It's
be
fasting.
more aggressive in this season,
Yes.
right? And your
Yes.
fasting, like for me, it may not be food because I don't really have a problem with food, but mine is just like you need to get back on a regular schedule of going to bed at this time and waking up at this time and setting aside this time to just complete this. And I have days
Right.
where I'll do really good work, or I'll be up for days and days and days finishing things and completing books, and like I've completed the books, but now I'm just like, okay, now I get it at a stop where I'm like, I don't know how to edit this, I don't know how to do this, and now y'all's like, I need you to trust me, I need you to lean on me. You're still trying to lean on your own understanding. I'm trying to get you to the next level, and in between that getting to the next level is when the enemy comes in and just like, you can't do this, it's impossible, why are you even trying? And so our
Right.
fasting is going to look different according to what Yah is calling us to in this next season. But I don't want you to feel like that it's like Dominique was saying, like
Fasting is how we hear Yah's voice. So the more we fast, the more we'll hear his voice. That's
It
what
clears
Yah
the
has.
clutter. It
Yeah.
clears the clutter, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody needs
Yeah.
to. I'm gonna say not everybody has to have such an aggressive fasting life to hear from Yah. I don't want that to ever be the outcome, because then we start thinking that fasting is a tool that we can use to try to like make us hear Yah, but that's not always the case either. I had to
Well,
learn that too,
yeah.
where I was in a year where I did nothing but fasting, and Yah was like, "You keep fasting, but this is not how I'm trying to talk to you." And so everybody's stage is going to be different. We don't want to put a blanket and say you have to fast to hear from Yah, because that's also not true, but that may be true for you in this season.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
wasn't saying it as if like, you have to fast every single time. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I know that fasting is a detox period. Fasting is
Yes.
not
It's
necessarily
a
towards
tool.
food. Fasting is whatever that is keeping you from Yah. But I do know that in order for Yah to actually purify us, for us to be completely purified, fasting from food is the quickest way to be purified. And that's what I've been learning recently. And I know that I have a lot of skeletons in my closet because of my past. And I know that each time I fasted, each time I've been able to breathe even more, be more be more aware of what I did wrong, and gain a closer relationship, and my faith strengthens the more I fast. It's just
Yeah.
right now I know that because I'm trying to get this true clarity, this true guidance. And that's the part where, okay, yeah, you were able to break all this stuff through Yah. I'm just speaking what I think the enemy is saying. But what I don't want you to get is to be able to hear his voice and get clarity. Because the
Right.
thing is, I'm, like, I've been writing since I was like 16 years old. Journaling is my favorite thing that I've always been able to do. That has been my outlet since from forever. And that's without a therapist. So me and writing, that's something I'm really good at, but it didn't help me. And I feel like with me right now, yeah, I have so many books that I've written, so many things so many things I want to tell people, but it's like I can't do it if I'm under anxiousness and I don't have clarity and I don't have instructions. I don't have a complete, like a clear direction, and that's where the enemy is like blocking me right now.
Yeah.
Can I
Latanya.
say something? Oh,
Sorry, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
done.
Aisha. Go ahead, Aisha.
Um, oh, go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything else. Sorry, love. I'm gonna mute myself.
No, you okay? Samaria, was Aisha sis? Were you talking?
No, T, it was you talking. I came off of mute. You go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to just add a little bit because I know that when you're talking about and hey, is it Octavius?
Yes, ma'am. Octavius.
Okay, I'm T. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
I was hearing you talk about being anxious and kind of deal with that a lot too. But one thing that I know that the enemy, like, I know that his trick with me is to get me so anxious to where I do nothing at all, like to numb me. And when I'm hearing you talking, like I hear a lot of like, the like sometimes anxiety can numb us from doing anything. And we think that, the only way forward is if we do this particular thing. Because sometimes I could be like that a lot of times, honestly. But I wanted to just kind of um encourage you to maybe try, like, you don't have to do it all at once. It kind of going back a little bit to what Taryn was saying. Not saying that, like, I know you're under attack, like we've confirmed that, but when I'm under attack, like usually the enemy can keep me down as long as he keep me doing nothing. So like don't think that like the small things, like those small steps that you're taking to get back into a, like a more obedient or, like a more active fast life, like don't take those lightly. Like even just going outside, like to take a walk, like, and just get a little bit of sunshine. Like sometimes that helps me, like to just stop being so anxious, because sometimes that anxiousness is really what's in the way. Like, we're in our own way, because remember, the devil, the enemy, he can't keep us down. He can't hold us down because he has no authority over us. So
Right.
it's up to us to get up and actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we feel held down and when we feel under attack, it's up to us to actually, you know, like, get up and not, you know, like, be under his, not have his foot on our neck, you know? So
Right.
a lot of times when I'm feeling that way, and that's the trick. He wants you to feel that way. He wants you to feel like you're so under attack that you can't do anything. But I just wanted to kind of encourage you that you can, and you have
Yeah.
to just, you know, like, get past, once we get past that mental block, which those small things can help us do, you know, like going for a walk, when we feeling anxious, or just, you know, praying in the moment. Like, sometimes I can get so tunnel vision, and Dominique can attest to this because she know how I am, and I'm y'all's working on me, but I can get so tunnel vision that I think that it has to go this exact way. Like, and y'all is teaching me how to pivot, you know, like, not only just in the physical, but also in the spiritual as well. Like,
Right.
it's not going to be a perfect picture every time. We're not always going to just be able to get back up and start back into the thing that we were doing previously. You know, sometimes we have to pivot and do other things to help us get back into that mode. So I just wanted to kind of give you some encouragement to know that the enemy has no authority over you. Even when he's
Yeah.
attacking you, the Most High is still covering you. He's still, you know what I'm saying? He's still not allowing those attacks to prosper within you. We have to just make that decision to get up, you know,
Yeah.
and actually do something. So just take it one step at a time, sis. You know, like,
I want
don't
to
think
read.
that you have to
I have a
just
question.
do it all. Sorry.
I have a question. Do you think that anxious is not a spirit?
No, I do believe, I very much think it's a spirit. But
Okay.
even with it being a spirit, you know,
It
like,
isn't. Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
know that it doesn't have any authority over you.
Of course
So,
not. I
you
was
know,
just
like,
wondering if you knew. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want
Yeah.
to
yeah,
read.
yeah.
I
It's
want to read. I
definitely a
want to
It's
read
definitely a
spirit.
this post.
spirit.
I
Yeah,
want to
it's
read
Yeah.
this
definitely a spirit, and it's
post.
definitely something that can
Yeah.
attack you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because
Yeah.
I get attacked all the time with anxiousness. Like, I get flustered really fast, how you were talking about earlier, like when you're
Yeah.
trying to get your words out. Like, I'm better at writing things down than I am
Then
actually
speaking.
speaking.
Yeah.
So, like, when I'm writing something down, it sounds so good. But
Real
when I
good.
actually try to talk and say it, it's
Yes.
like everything just go out the window. So I
This has
know
been like
exactly
this for
where
me
you
all my
are.
life. This has been like this for me all my life. I used to do human trafficking trainings, and I used to go around the United States and set up shop and do these trainings. And you would think after the fifth, 10th one, I would, have it down packed. But it's different when you are like speaking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's never comfortable. So it's like, it's not that I think that the enemy has control over me. Oh my gosh. I can tell you so many ways how I know that I could have died and Yah has saved me. It's just I am tired of these anxiousness now. I'm tired of the anxiety. I I have so much I want to, there's so many things I want to do, but I don't do it because I don't know how to speak. And I know that Yah wants me to give him the glory. I know like a year or 2 years ago, he kept putting on my spirit, he has to get the glory, and I shied away from it. I, I I shied away from it, not because I don't want him to. It's just because I didn't want nobody in my business. Um, and it's like now I just know I need to deal with the spirit of inside. The spirit of anxiousness. It's not. I don't
I'm
think that
gonna.
it's
Hey,
controlling
y'all,
me or
hold on. Hey,
anything.
I want to interject here so we can get back on track with Bible study. But this is
Sorry.
going to speak to all that because we're going to talk about the being still,
Yeah.
him being our helper, and the not being ashamed. And so, again, like we were saying, like all this before in Genesis being the perfect picture of salvation, we're going to see how Yah operates even in the midst of our anxiousness, our anxiety, anything that's trying to come against Yah's perfect order. Because again, that's the darkness, that's the chaos. Those are the things that cause us to be dysfunctional. Not that you're purposely trying to move in evil or dysfunction, but it is part of the spirit of darkness. It's those pieces of that. And so, like we said, Yah has given us the authority and the dominion to subdue things. We were talking about that earlier. So obviously we're talking about the creation of the world, but we're also talking about us, our vessel. He has given us the authority, like T said, we have the dominion and the authority that comes from Yahusha to literally subdue our temple, to subdue the things in us that are not of Yah. And so in verse 16, he tells Adam that you're free to eat from the garden, but you can't touch from the good evil because you'll certainly die from it, right? We had no knowledge of what anxiety was until sin entered into the picture. We had no understanding of what of fear, our anxiousness, our depression was. Not saying anybody has depression, but like we literally had no tangible concept of what these spirits were because we were not eating from a defiled mixture. Right. So now we're kind of like working backwards with the salvation of Yahusha, but Yah's reminding us here in Genesis 1 and 2 that we were always created to have dominion. But now sometimes those things that keep coming up, those attacks that keep coming are like the thorn in our side. Like the thorn can't kill you. The thorn doesn't have any, has no power over you, but it's constantly something that's pricking you and it's irritating you all the time. But Yah's like, you've overcome this. Not in a sense to keep you paralyzed, because Teshuvia, if you're not subscribed to Shetuvia's like her growth process, she gives like these amazing words of encouragement like every day. Like this week it was progress over perfection. And it literally talked about perfection is a trap, it paralyzes you, and that's where like that anxiety comes in, where Yah's just like every step of obedience is good, it counts. When you fall down, when you stumble, repentance counts. Like it's progress that builds our strength. And so all the ladies are talking about fasting, like you may want to jump into doing another 30-day fast or a 7-day fast. So maybe Yah's just saying, how about you just do today? How about you just fast today and get that under your foot? And then maybe the next time you fast, you do 2 days, or maybe you do a day and a half. And so again, if you haven't subscribed to her, I know you're taking a break from social media. She has a Patreon account. If you don't want to be like on socials, because I think that's what she posted. You have to be on her Patreon anyway. But it says, then Yahuwah said, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make for him a suitable helper. So this is where women kind of come in. Oh yes, we're definitely gonna pray out and for you. We'll and everything before closing out. But yes, I think it was confirmation to everybody that we're saying that we should all be fasting. I've heard like 3 or 4 people in the chat saying, I need to fast. Was confirmation. So yes, definitely. Everything Yah has us here to encourage each other and to remind each other that fasting is something that we definitely should all be participating in, especially if you're feeling heavy. And so the suitable helper, this part right here is Azer Kanego. And this kind of speaks to our function. Yahuwah called us Azer Kanego. It was man that called us woman. And so I want us to get into identity as women, because Yah has called us a help of equal opposites. He called us to be, he literally said it's not good for man to be alone, and we were the good thing. So if Yah says it's not good for man to be alone, but he says, I'm going to give you a helper. I'll share it, Tanisha, towards the end. I'll share Teshuvia's page at the end of the call tonight, or even in the group message or whatever. I'll message you separately. But Yah says it's not good for man to be alone, but then he produces the woman. And so we know all the Proverbs says a woman, she's more valuable than rubies or gold. And so all these attributes that Yah gives to a woman, to a wife, to the help meet that is for a man. Somewhere in Sriracha even talks about a man without a wife is like someone wandering in the night, like he has no place to lay his head. Like there's this equivalent of the creation and the design of a woman is supposed to be a place of rest and comfort, but she's also a strength and a helper. And so a lot of times when you're coming out of religious constructs, there's this perception that women don't have the capability to be guards or protectors. But according to Yah's word, he literally designs us to be a helper or a suitable helper for him. And those words literally break down to like military terms. Like Azer is the same word that is used when Yah says, I will help Israel. I will be Israel's help. It's the same word that Yah uses to be his people's help and comfort is the same word he used to describe woman, to describe Azer Kanego. And he formed out of the ground with the wild animals and the birds, and he brought them to the man to see what he would name them. Whatever creature he was living in, it was named. So again, the dominion, Adam is having the authority to name and to identify and to give function, not give function, but to give identity to the animals that are moving in the function of Yah. But for Adam, he realized that there was no suitable help for him. And this is the part that I really want us to focus on, because it really talks about marriage and it really talks about covenant, starting here with the man. It starts with the man. And Yahuwah caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. So this word literally looks like he goes into this is like the first anesthesia procedure, right? So before a man can receive his helpmate that's fashioned by Yah, the man has to be completely surrendered and submitted to Yahuwah. Like a picture of he literally becomes in the state of dust again, where he becomes nothing because he's just laying there saying, Yah, have your will, have your way with me. The man has to be completely in a state of surrender to truly understand the help that is coming to him. Because yes, she was took out of the man's rib. That's not really a rib. We keep saying, oh, my rib, she's my rib. It's not a rib. It's the most inner secret parts of the chamber. It's like there's the temple, but then there's the inward structure of the temple. That is where woman is formed from. She's formed from the innermost courts of the man. If Adam is a picture of the temple that Yah wants to dwell in, a woman is formed out from the innermost chamber of the temple, and she's fashioned into a physical representation of that innermost parts, the deeper parts, the deep things. That's why wisdom in women are very much the same when you're reading Proverbs. Not saying that men can't have wisdom, but when man finds wisdom, it's favorable to Yahuwah. But when man finds a wife, it's favor unto Yahuwah. You see where I'm going? We keep seeing this parallel. Again, but there's also the bad side of that. If the woman is not wise, if she's not surrendered to Yah, then she'll bring crumbling to the tabernacle. She'll bring crumbling to the temple. But we're speaking on a man and a woman who don't know sin yet. So this is a righteous woman. This is a righteous man. These are righteous designs that Yah has, that he's doing right here in the procedure of taking a woman from the innermost chamber of man to, fashion her.
That's so beautiful because, like, how we as women, like, we see the deep things. We, like, men are very logical beings. Like, we're the ones that, like, kind of balance them out. Like, we can see the emotional side, the deeper side, the nuanced things. Like, and so to know that that's what that word actually means is actually very beautiful. Like,
Yeah,
wow. Mm-hmm.
I was first like coming into truth. Y'all had me read Genesis and the word Azer Kanego stuck out, and I really started to really like pick apart Azer Kanego, and I was just like, dang, these words are really strong. But strong doesn't mean masculine. And I feel like that's a relearning in our mind and the way that we process information, especially coming into Torah, especially being women who are called to be Hebrews, women who are called to seek out with their heart, their mind, their soul, with all of that. And it's just beautiful, like, oh no, I think I have it where I kind of broke it down a little bit further. With the covenant of man and woman, because this is the picture of covenant. That's why this is kind of the first time we see, like, and the man shall leave his father and mother, and he shall cleave to his wife, and there shall be one. This is the first time we see two becoming one. This is the first time we're seeing a picture of what it means to be a Echad. Like, Shema Israel, Yahuwah your Elohim, he is one. He is a Echad. This is the first picture we're seeing of what covenant and being one. Literally, covenant and being one. There's two in a covenant, but they become one. Literally, and it's also like a picture of Yahusha and Yahuwah, like the two, but they're one. Like they're one in spirit, they're one in purpose. Yeah, it's just it's a beautiful picture of that. And so the deep sleep, and then he was sleeping, and he took one of the man's ribs and closed up the place with flesh. Then Yahuwah made a woman from the rib he had taken out of man, and he brought her to the man. So again, he didn't make her right there. We see this picture again, like we said earlier. Yahuwah prepares you, he fashions you, and then he places you. Same thing happened with woman. he formed her, like he took the material that was in man already, because it was already there. Man and woman was already in the design of Adam. Yah extracted out woman, fashioned her outside of the presence of where Adam was, outside of the presence of the garden, just the same way he formed and fashioned Adam outside of the garden, he formed and he fashioned Chawa, or Eve, outside of the garden. He designed her. And like Sister Rachel said some months ago, we don't know how long or how much time Yah took in doing this, but we knew it was within the span of the 6 days. We do know that, but we don't know how long he was working on that design. Genesis 2 doesn't tell us what day Yah did this. But I think it does tell us what day he did form man. So he created mankind. What day was that? I will get to it later, but it doesn't give us a distinct timeline of like how long it took him to form woman and then present him back. And the man said, "This is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called a woman, for she was taken out of man. That is why a man leaves his father and his mother and is united, and shall cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame." And so this is the part that I really want us to get to when we're talking about fasting and the things that Yah is like breaking off of us and giving us dominion through, is that being naked and feeling no shame. And so when we're telling our testimonies, when we're sharing the things that we struggle with, we know that we're doing it with Yah when there's no shame attached, but we know that we're laying ourselves naked and bare. All the things that we've gone through, all the things we overcome, all the things that we have done that we don't do anymore, allows us to be a workman unashamed. So when we're telling our story, there's freedom in that. And when we start to tell, for me, I realized I didn't have full deliverance or healing. Is because I would tell a story about something that happened to me in my past, and it would still hurt. Not in the sense of like, it's not going to ever stop hurting, because for me in my testimony, it doesn't hurt anymore. Will I say that I'm sensitive or aware to it? Yes, but I don't have shame or discomfort or fear. I don't feel like if someone tries to persecute me for telling my testimony, I have no shame. I can be naked in that and be fine, which is the picture of what being a workman unashamed is supposed to look like. And so where we can lay ourselves bare first and foremost before Yahuwah. A lot of people have not mastered being naked before Yah. We're still trying to cover ourselves like, oh no, don't look at that. Oh no, like imagine being naked in front of a whole bunch of people. The first thing you're gonna do is cover your boobs and cover your privates, right? That's the first thing. Like if someone pops in on you in the shower, like, hey, hold on, you're seeing something you shouldn't see. A lot of times we approach Yah like that. And literally, this is why we're doing this first before we get into Exodus, is because that is what Israel was doing when they came out of Egypt. They said they wanted to serve Yah, they love Yah, but they were still approaching him in a sense of just like, they were still covering things up. They were still shameful of certain things, even if they didn't want to say it out loud. I caught myself last week in prayer. I was praying, and there was something I wanted to say out of my mouth, but I couldn't say it. But in my heart, Yah translated and he answered that prayer that I had in my heart. But I was like, why is it so hard for me to say that I would like a confirmation from you, Yah? Like, I was talking to some other sisters. I was like, yeah, I just need a confirmation. I didn't say it in prayer, but in my mind and my heart, I was grieved because I couldn't figure out why I didn't want to ask Yah for a confirmation. And that was him revealing to me, like, you're becoming more naked before me, but you still have some shame in wanting to ask something from me. We talked about earlier how sometimes I'm saying in fasting, we're asking, well, Yah, what do you want from me? My problem has never been saying, Yah, what do you want from me? My problem has been asking Yah for things, or asking Yah to do something for me. And so everybody's, walk with Yah is going to be different. Some people have no problem asking Yah for things, and that's amazing. But for me and the things that he's healing in me, I've had problems asking Yah for stuff. And I'm just saying, Yah, just use me as a vessel. What do you need from me? I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. But there's a place in me that Yah's healing where he's like, I'm your father. You can ask me something. You can ask for a confirmation. You can ask for a deeper revelation of X, Y, and Z, and I'll give it to you. And he did literally, even though I didn't say it out of my mouth, in my heart, there was a breaking, and I said it within my heart, and he gave me the answer literally a couple hours later. And I was so like taken aback, where I was just like, while I had shame in asking for this, and I didn't say it out of my mouth, but Yah gave me the confirmation anyway without even have to open in my mouth and say it, because he knew in my heart that I wanted to ask this, but there was something hindering me in the flesh. And I'm saying all this to say, to get back to literally to being naked and feeling no shame. Anything that's blocking us from that, we know that it's not the Father. And I know I only said I was going to do Genesis 1 and 2, and we are only going to stop there. But I really wanted to talk about this picture of covenant in the woman in marriage, because we have some sisters who are engaged, some are married, some are single. And if you are falling into those categories, I want us to really understand as women what marriage in Yah's eyes look like, and how it's literally a direct mirror of covenant with him. There's no separation between your marriage covenant and how that's designed and the design of the covenant with Yahusha. Like they are, that's why we're seeing this picture of covenant right here in the beginning. And so, so the woman in the covenant of oneness, it says, and Yahuwah caused a deep sleep to fall on man, and he slept, he took one, closed it up. So the man was placed in the Hebrew word is H8639, which is tardim, or a deep, peaceful sleep. So there's a man should already be operating in shalom. He should be already operating within covenant. He should already be operating in a place that is safe. If that man is not safe, he's not operating in peace, he's not ready for you. Because the man, this is a prophetic symbolism of literally if the man wants to receive his helper, he has to submit completely to the operation of Yahuwah, because that's what Adam was going through. He's going through an operation quite literally. So the woman is taken from his salah, which is H6763, or his side. That word is used as a reference as the chamber of the temple. She is not an afterthought. She is supposed to be a mirror. Her role is sacred, like the innermost chamber of Yahuwah's house. Again, Proverbs 18:22, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain favors from Yahuwah. So a righteous woman is supposed to be a temple of purity and peace, just as a wicked woman is a temple of seduction and lawlessness. Man and woman were created to shelter each other in the spirit of Yahuwah. So if she's coming out of the side of a man, he's already covering her inside of himself. And if she is the temple on the outside, he should be able to retreat to her and be a covering in the spirit of Yahuwah for himself. So it has to be equal opposite. That's what Azer Kenego breaks down to. You should be able to be, he should be able to cover you. You should be able to cover him. I know we have this picture of, oh, it's Yahuwah, Yahusha, man, husband, but really it's that man, when he is down and out, when he's struggling, he should be able to run to you, my good sis, for you, for prayer, for coverings, for spiritual warfare and battle, and vice versa. It's not a he's here, you're here, and he's just covering you, and there's no like, we're made in the image of Yahuwah. So if I'm in the image of the Most High, I should be able to cover and shelter my husband. If my husband is made in the image of the Most High, he should be able to cover and shelter me. It's equal opposites, because there's a belief that, you know, a man can marry a woman who's not a believer. He's putting himself in danger. If a woman is marrying a man that does not surrender to Yah, you're putting yourself in danger. Whether it's a physical, fleshly danger, but there's spiritual cracks that are going to be in the marriage. If your husband is not submitted, you are constantly going to be fighting for your marriage, which you're called to do, because Yah says if you marry an unbeliever, or not that you married one, because that's not what Yah calls us to do. But if you're already married and one person gets deeper in their faith and really starts to walk with Yah in spirit and in truth, and your spouse hasn't, it is now your job, faithful spouse, to cover and shelter and pray on behalf of them, to be a daily consecutive intercessor. That's not saying you go into a marriage knowing that that person is not surrendered to Yah. Don't ever do that to yourself. Because I don't know, Yah's gonna be like, girl, I did not tell you to marry that man. You wanted to marry that man, or to the man, I did not tell you to marry that woman. And now there's spiritual warfare that's happening, and Yah didn't even say that was supposed to be your portion. And so again, always back to surrender, always back to obedience. And so these situations are different regardless of you being married or not married, or married and then one spouse comes into truth before the other. The operation of that is different. If you're single, and you marry someone that you know is not serving Yah, did Yah tell you to do that, or were you motivated by the flesh?
I think that, like, you made a good point. That Corinthians verse where he's like, if the unbelieving wife, Paul is not, I don't think he's talking about like one being a believer and intentionally marrying an unbeliever. I think like he's like, if y'all come into the faith at the same time, or, y'all both get married and y'all both lukewarm. And then, like you said, one wakes up, that's how you turn the unbelieving spouse, by the one who woke up. Not like you're a believer, you're already deep in your faith and in truth, and you choose an unbeliever. Like,
You
so
absolutely
yes,
right, sis. And I
yes.
can second and third that one. Because I did that and it didn't work at all. It was never
hmm
gonna work.
But like a lot of couples I know, like, have came into the faith. Like I said, they were both lukewarm or like, Christian. Like I believe, go to church every now and then, but not surrendered. And then one surrenders and the other one hasn't. That's when you start praying in warfare, and Yah's on your side in that, because he's going to use you to turn your spouse. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I
and
can
a lot of
attest to that because that's what happened to me. Me and my husband were both quote unquote believers when we got married. And then I came into truth and I had to like go to war for him to come into truth. And now he's deeper than me and I got to get on my stuff. So
period, yes.
And I'm listen, and I'm here to back it up. She ain't lying. My boy is in there praying
Hallelujah.
that house down.
Yes. And because like, look, that's how, like, that's beautiful, because that's the design, right? And we give, that's a praise report. You know, I asked for praise reports and y'all didn't say no praise. That's a praise report. Because
Thank you. Call her out.
hallelujah. Because I think Yah that he's entrusted me to have conversation with a lot of my sisters in different spaces, where some of our sisters, they have husbands who have, like, they're constantly warring within their relationship for their spouse, but that spouse is still not surrendered, and it can cause a tension. It can cause a splitting in the physical of what we're seeing in a marriage, when Yah is trying to do a breaking in the spouse, but the other spouse may be rejecting it. That is a mantle. Okay, that is a very deep mantle for a wife praying for a husband who does not want to surrender. And I don't wish that on any of my sisters. So I'm saying, don't marry a man who's not surrendered already, because that is unless no, actually there's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. There's no excuse for trying to marry an unbeliever. I'm not gonna say that. But if you find yourself in that position where you both were married and one comes into truth, I pray that the wife or the husband of the other spouse understands that the type of strength that you have to have is only going to come from you, one, being surrendered to Yah, and how to operate in that marriage with a spouse who is trying to literally become your persecutor in the midst of your own home. And that is a very sensitive and deep conversation that a lot of times we don't hear. But Yah has allowed me to be privy to some of those situations and to see how heavy that is. And how spiritually anchored to Yahuwah you have to be. Because Yahusha also did say that I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. That there will be households where the husband and wife split, not on the believer's part, but the unbeliever may walk away from the believing spouse, because the believing spouse says, I'm going to stand firm on Yah's word and I love you, but I'm not going to go back into my sins. I'm not going to go back into serving falsehoods. And if your spouse is not appointed to be one of Yah's children, the level of discipleship of the calling of Yahusha is that's a type of surrender and humility that a lot of people have not felt. And so when I say the covenant of marriage is so serious, because I believe that in marriage we also see a type of sanctification as well, like a deeper level of it, because you're constantly seeing someone that's going to mirror, like, okay, you were acting nasty, they acted nasty. Now you have to sit within yourself. Did I handle that the right way? Was I operating the fruits of the spirit? Like a constant, daily, every time, something that us single people can get, but it's not going to be the same as having someone literally in your face every day. And that's why I believe you have to be called to marriage. a lot of times we take marriage as something like, oh, I'm gonna get married, have kids, and have this beautiful life, da, 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 da. But y'all's like, that's not, I told you to be fruitful and multiply and to subdue. The whole purpose of you being married and being created is to literally, we are broke down the word subdue. It's very aggressive. It's very like dominion, putting something under your foot. And so if Yah has called you to marriage, he's called you to subdue, not just in your home, but in yourself and in your children, in the spaces in which you are in. Like that's a calling. People try to make it seem like marriage is a reward, like it's this thing, like it's a calling. And there's blessings in that calling because it's a mantle, but it's still a calling. We should not take it lightly, like it's just, oh, this is the process of life. It's not just like going to go fix a meal, because it's the design of covenant union. Yahusha repeats it again, like in Mark. From the beginning of creation, Elohim made them male and female, and the two shall become one flesh. What Yahuwah has joined together, let no man separate. The only other time that we hear the word cleave, and a man shall cleave to his wife, we see it that, and you shall cleave to Yahuwah your Elohim. So the two times we hear the word cleaving, or I should say 3 times that we see it a lot in scripture, is one, us to our Elohim. Cleaving is like a deep pursuit, a desire to want to be with the other person. So a man is supposed to cleave to you, ladies. And I want to go against a lot of pop culture and just the things that we see in the media where men have to present themselves to look like she's chasing or desiring a man, when really the order is that a man is supposed to cleave. A man is supposed to have a desire to chase, to want, to please, to serve his wife, not in the worshiping idolatry kind of way, but in a sense of like, husbands, love your wives the way that Hamashiach loves the assembly. To cleave is to be like, I'm going to lay down my life to love you. That's a type of, in romance, we call it yearning. But like a man is supposed to yearn for his spouse, especially if she's a righteous woman. Like he wants to cleave. He wants to literally become one with you. And in the cleaving, there is no room for anything or anybody else. And so when we look at it from a spiritual aspect, when Yah calls us to cleave to him, if you're cleaving and chasing after Yahuwah, there is no space, there is no room for any other Elohim. There's no space for any other vain things. It's just him. It's just what he calls. It's just learning what he loves, what he desires, what he calls holy, clean, and right. It's what he calls good fruit. Like you want to know, you want to be a part of everything that he has established and has said. And so when y'all saying a man has to leave his father and his mother, picture Abram, leave your father's house and come cleave to me. Come follow. We could just take the word follow out and put cleave. Abraham, leave your father's house and cleave to me. When Yah calls us into covenant, he's calling us to cleave to him. And I'm talking about covenant in the spiritual salvation aspect, but also in the marriage. When Yah's calling you to marriage, he's calling you to cleave to one another. Their salvation brings you joy, and your salvation brings them joy. Their deliverance brings you joy, and your deliverance brings them joy. The same way Yah is like, Yahusha's like, your deliverance brings me joy because it brings us closer together. When we cleave, there's things in the way where we can't completely mesh. And Yah's like, when you start cleaving to me and we do the fasting and the praying and the submitting to him, the things get pushed out the way so the cleaving becomes complete. And you literally become one vessel, or one operation. And so oneness with Yahuwah is the foundation of all healthy relationships. If we are truly in Yahusha, sanctified and unashamed, we are united not just to the Father, but to one another in love and covenant fidelity. And so being naked and unashamed is not just about our physical nakedness, like we talked about, but it's about the transparency and the vulnerability and the covenantal trust. The vulnerability things, a lot of us are still learning. Like I mentioned my testimony earlier. I was in prayer and I was crying. I knew that the Ruach HaKodesh was there. It was very powerful prayer. But in that one thing that I wanted to pray for, it was like, I was still struggling with being vulnerable and the fact that Yah, please give me a confirmation. Like I didn't feel right asking. And Yah's like, we're going to work out why you feel that way. Because there's something deeper. Like, why don't you feel you can come to me with this? And so sometimes when we're praying and there's things we're struggling with, sometimes in our vulnerability, that's where the breakthroughs are. And not sometimes, a lot, every time. And so being honest, or being naked and unashamed, is to be honest and exposed and clothed only in his righteousness. And so in a righteous marriage, as in our relationship with Yahuwah, we must be willing to lay ourselves bare, to share our weaknesses, to share our fears, to share our burdens, and to share our faults, and to share our questions. I want to add that in there because that's something that y'all's revealing to me today. When you lay yourself bare, also, share your questions. This kind of oneness is not fragile because it's forged in truth and it's secured by love, just as in the garden where it's to mirror that covenant. Yahuwah with his people, Yahusha with his bride, man with a woman. Literally to be a workman that's unashamed. And there's a lot of revelation in just how sacred covenant and marriage is to Yah, and we can really see the full picture of it right here in Genesis chapter 2, because it's the first time that we're literally seeing like covenant marriage, I would say. Let me say, what was the sanctification of the 7th day? Did we skip over that? Okay, yeah. On the 7th day, Yah finished his work. Okay, so before next week, we're going to get into Sabbath. I want to go over the 7th day before we close out. And so it's a covenant of rest, the 7th-day promise. So Genesis chapter 2, verse 2-3. And on the 7th day, Elohim completed his work, which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work, which he had made. He blessed the 7th day and set it apart because he rested from all his work. So Yahuwah did not simply just finish his creation. He literally fulfilled it. So everything was literally fulfilled here. Again, and remember, there's no sin, there's no error, there's no faults right now. So when he finished it, it was fulfilled. He fulfilled creation. Everything was done. It was perfect. So because it was done, it was perfect. He says on this perfect day is the Sabbath. It's the day of completion. He accomplished it. He brought everything to pass. Everything was finished. He revealed the wholeness of the purpose. The wholeness of his purpose was not just started, but it brought it to the right and full completion. We talked about how Yahusha came to fulfill, he came to complete, to accomplish, to make everything full and righteous. This is a picture of the Sabbath. So what was the work? So the word work, so this word literally means, it breaks down to his workmanship, his property. So Yahuwah completed his property, his workmanship. He completed the craftsmanship of creation, of you and I. So Yahuwah is the master workman. He was the builder. He's the architect of all things. And the Sabbath is a divine seal that he placed on his masterpiece of this creation itself. So I'm going to talk about the workman in the house. And so just as any skilled craftsman doesn't leave his house unfinished, Yahuwah did not stop until everything and every element of his creation was in place. The theme of the workman repairing and amending his house stretches from Genesis to Yahusha the Messiah. So that's why I'm blaming this blueprint about him being the workman. He's the one that created everything. He's the architect. And the fact that the house needed to be repaired and fixed, only the workman can do that. Only Yahusha can do that. And so obviously when sin came in, we broke the perfectness. Our sin entered in a fracture, a breach, a breaking from the covenant that needed repairing that only Yahuwah could do. So say, I don't know, say you get something designed by a designer or a workman, and something it gets fractured. You can't just call anybody. You have to literally call the person, especially if it's an exclusive design, it's something that only this person knows how to make. You have to call the one who created it. You have to reach out to the one who fashioned it, who formed it. It's like, hey, there's a fracture in this XYZ, this base. You're the only one who has the skill to be able to fix this thing. That's literally what the picture of us needing Yahusha was. Like, Yah salvation, the picture of Yah fixing what we broke, because he's the only one that can fix it. So again, we're seeing this picture in Genesis. Who is both the son of David and the anointed one from the tribe of Judah, filled with the spirit of wisdom and understanding. So in Exodus we're seeing a picture where it says, Yahuwah said, I will fill him with the spirit of Elohim and wisdom and understanding and knowledge and all manner of workmanship. In 2 Chronicles, we see it again where it says, and they gave it to the workmen who worked in the house of Yahuwah to repair and amend the house. And so I wanted to put those two scriptures in there from Exodus and 2 Chronicles to show the pattern of when the house is broken. Yah has always presented forth someone that was full of him, his spirit, his understanding, to fix and to repair the temple, to fix and to repair the covenant, right? So obviously these are external examples of that, but on the spiritual aspect of it, Yahuwah is saying, I have a workman, I have a man that is me, fully in spirit, that's going to fix my house, who's going to redeem, to renew, to amend my covenant, which you broke. And we see that in the prophets, like, y'all broke the covenant, y'all broke his covenant over and over again. Who's going to fix the breaking of this covenant? That's why in Revelations, John was crying. And he was just like, who can break the seals? And the Malachim was just like, don't cry, the Lamb is worthy. The Lamb is worthy. And so the word Sabbath, or the seventh day, literally in Hebrew is Sabbath, which it means to swear, to make an oath, to bind oneself to a covenant. So Sabbath, or Shabbat, is literally a binding of the covenant. To bind it, to seal it, to perfect it. That's what happened on the seventh day. Y'all was like, I'm done. It's cool. It's finished. It's complete. It's perfect. Sealing it up. Put a bow on it. That's the Sabbath day. It's literally saying I'm bound to the covenant. The seventh day is not simply the ending of a work week. It is the oath of Yahuwah, the sign of his covenant with his people. We see that all through Exodus. He's like, my Sabbath you shall keep. It's a sign between me and you throughout all your generations, so you can know that I am the one who completes you, who sanctifies you. In the word set apart or holy, is to be, it means like he set apart the Sabbath day. He said to treat this day with honor. It's sacred. The Sabbath is not a burden, it's a holy distinction. We've been talking about all through Genesis 1 and 2, separation, distinction, identity, function. Like the Sabbath day, to keep it holy is to treat it with honor, to keep it set apart, because it is your distinction. It is the appointed time and when heaven meets earth in rest, remembrance, and restoration. And so with this understanding, when we go into Exodus 15, when the Israelites who spent over 200 something years as slaves in Egypt, they are now about to learn, or Yah's going to attempt to teach them the oath of the covenant, the binding of being his people, the sign that you trust and rest and that you can have restoration in him, quite literally, because I think Hulda broke it down, like the Sabbath is not it's a he. Like when you break down that word in the Hebrew, like he sanctified it. That word it actually is it's masculine, it's a he. Basically, he sanctified himself. Like Yah's like, I'm sanctifying this day because my day, I'm representing in this. I'm representing in this rest, in this restoration, in this perfection. I'm sanctified. I'm holy. And when you sit with me, and when you bind yourself to the Sabbath day, you're binding yourself to my perfection, to my restoration, to the remembrance of who I am. And so with that, I bid adieu. Hold on, me in the call.